What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Ask Mevo Anything. My name is Will, and I am joined by Joseph, as always. How you doing, man?
How's it going, Will? How's everybody doing today? Happy to be here. An exciting day for Ask Me About Anything.
It is update day, which I know lots and lots of our viewers are always really excited about. So
Yeah.
finally, that day has come. I know Fred is already top of the list there on chat saying, "Is there an update today?" And yeah, there is an update today.
Yes, there
Actually,
is,
it
Fred.
actually came out last week, so it's cool we get to talk about it. All right, so first off, to kick it off, if you're new to the show or you've been here for a while, welcome back. Welcome. This show is all about asking us all your Mevo questions. You can ask us production questions and live streaming questions, and we will try and answer all of those. Let's kick it off with talking about what we're using today as a setup. Today, I've got my Mevo Start, which is connected to a Mevo PoE adapter. That's power over Ethernet, and that's keeping my connection nice and stable. And I'm using the wireless webcam application to send my Mevo to my PC over here. And then for audio, I've got this great Encore 300 by Blue, and that's connected to my Go XLR Mini, which is then sending that audio back out into my Mevo Start using 3.5 millimeter TRS cable. Um, we talk a lot about the differences between having your audio go through USB or Ethernet, and if you've got or USB or 3.5, and so if you've got that Mevo PoE connected, 3.5 is a great way to go. And then for lighting, I have my Lytra glows, which are at 2 different tones, kind of giving me this great glow effect. So yeah, very, very nice. What do you
Yeah, I
got
mean, I
going
think
on?
you're looking great. You look great and sound great today.
Thank you, sir.
We do these shows every week, and we're always messing with our setting. I feel like we're always tinkering with our stuff, and we did
Always.
some tinkering earlier today, and I think it was definitely worth it. All right, so team, on my end, I am using a Mevo Start, and that is using the wireless webcam app to my iMac. I'm using a little bit older of an iMac. As you know, on this show, we do like to use what you guys are using, what the consumer is using, what's out there. So we only strictly shoot anything on our own equipment, which is cool. So that's my camera and image. My audio is then coming through this blue baby bottle microphone. That is then being routed through a TBX compressor, and then from there it is going into an external audio mixer. So essentially, what I'm doing is similar to what Will's doing with the Go XLR setup. On his setup, he's doing everything internally with software. On my setup, I'm doing everything externally with analog gear, just to show that there are different ways you can go as far as getting audio to your streams. This is coming in from the mixer to an additional headphone amplifier, which is actually routing that signal to a bunch of different Mevo. So I got about 4 Mevo set up right now. So if I wanted to use this blue microphone on any of those feeds, I absolutely can using that setup. Now, with the multicam update that we're going to be talking about today, there's actually some great new features that make that part of the process a little bit easier, where you can almost eliminate that audio setup. So that's it for me as far as setup, I believe. Oh, and of course, my lighting. I actually am using the same thing as you, Will. I have 2 Lytra glows. Both of my lights are coming, hold on, putting my hand in front of the camera. They're coming from like this angle in front of me this way. And on my left side here, I have a little bit darker over here just so I have a little bit more focus on me here. And then of course I have my just studio lighting going on in the background as well.
Also, I do want to point out we're both rocking our UE fits as well. Yeah,
Absolutely.
which are
Yeah,
really
it's so
fun.
nice it's a good way to bring it up. Having that in-ear and not having to have the big bulky headset over it is just super clutch especially when you're doing an interview type show like this, or a desk type streaming setup like this. Very, 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 very helpful and comfortable as well.
Yeah, you know what I noticed when I was wearing the other blue headphones, which I really like a lot and have really great audio, but and that's the blue Ellas, is when I'm doing these kind of shows where I'm talking, is like when you're completely covered, your ears are completely covered, then you can't really hear your own voice, which makes it kind of difficult to have a conversation with somebody. So I really like these in-ear headphones because I can hear you really, really well, but I can also hear my own voice, so I can
Yeah.
have a
Yeah, having
nice
that noise
nicer
canceling
effect.
fit. You could hear your own voice inside your own head.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So before we move on to the update, I know I see chatters going, people getting excited about it. Let's talk about some house cleaning stuff, shall we? So you are watching Ask Mevo Anything. We do this show every single Tuesday. And then, of course, on Thursdays, we also do Mevo Live. So the differences between the two shows: on Tuesdays, it's AMA, Ask Us Anything, post your questions in the chat. We are now streaming to Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube at Mevo Camera. And then our Thursday show, we do a lot more. We try to expand the Mevo universe a little bit. We try to bring in different ways of setting things up, doing in-app demos. So the Thursday shows are really where you're going to get a good chunk of um, like the behind the scenes Mevo stuff, like the in-app stuff, the trial and error stuff that we like to do, opposed to Tuesdays where we're just answering questions. But yeah, so what do you say, Will? Are we ready to get into the update and talk about it a little bit? Do you want to field some questions first, make them wait a little bit? What do you think?
Let's see. You know what? Let's kind of cover the basics about the update, and then we'll jump into some of the questions. And yeah, we want to kind of talk a little bit about the update and what it's all about, but also, we want to let you guys ask us any questions that you have about what the update is capable of, how it would work in your setup and with your needs. So definitely let us know how you feel. About hearing this update news, and if you have any questions related to that. So just to kind of dive in to what the update is, I think we even have a slide about what everything is on it.
Of course.
Joseph is on it. So Mevo Multicam 1.4. So it's currently out Android now only. This is gonna be released on iOS. I think maybe tomorrow. There's a little bit of a delay with the Apple App Store, so you can expect that this week for sure. And so it is allowing you to connect the Multicam app directly to the Mevo wireless webcam app, and that's for Windows or Mac. And this lets you bring in your multicam setup using up to 3 Mevos into anything on your computer, whether it is Discord or Zoom or OBS, any of your typical broadcasting tools. You can also stream directly to Twitter. There was a little bit of a changeover when we were using Periscope before, and we finally have that all worked out with Twitter. So now you can stream directly to Twitter from the Mevo apps. And the advanced audio mixer has been added. So this allows you to do stuff like bring in the device's audio, and you can switch the audio sources without having to go back and forth between the Mevo app and the Multicam app. So really a cool and very big update.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited about it. I'm especially excited for the audio mixer. I've been playing with it over the past little while now. It definitely opens up a lot of doors that people have been asking for on that multicam app. The ability to have the device audio that you can use now, the ability to use a remote mic app separate from a camera, which is pretty
Right.
cool. So just so everyone knows, over the next few weeks, actually the whole month of March, it's going to be March Madness with multicam, right? So we're going to be doing multicam in-app demos. We're going to show everyone how the different ways and use case scenarios to use these new features with multicam. I know we have a lot of plans set up with the audio mixer, how to connect your multicam to a Zoom meeting, and even use it with Streamlabs. So we have a lot of stuff lined up for this month, and we're really excited. This is a pretty big update, a lot of new features. It's been a while, so this next few weeks are going to be a lot of fun. All right. What do you say we get into questions?
Let's do it.
All right. So what we want to talk about today is the multicam update. So if you have questions about the update, please put them in the chat. What do you want to know? Any other questions we welcome, of course. But it's a big update, and we're excited to talk about it. So Fred the Hippo, is there an update? Yep, there is. All right, let's get through some of these. Laserless, good morning from Oregon. Hey, Laserless, thank you for joining us and always being a huge part of the show.
How you doing?
And yeah, well, but drop in and say hey, stuck in meetings all day. We appreciate you hanging out with us during your work day. We understand that work can be a little ominous sometimes, and having Will and I here chatting in your ear can really brighten your day. So we appreciate you guys dropping in, of course.
There you go. Just think of it
Uh,
like a podcast. You're just listening in. Thanks for joining us, though.
yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Fred Hippo says Fred Hippo's all over it. Update day, very excited. Happy update days from Gordon. Ben coming in, yay to the update. So everyone's pretty excited. So here's a question.
Nice.
We kind of covered this from Fred, but let's answer it now officially. Is the Google Play update? Is this a Google Play update, or is there one for iOS as well?
So right now it's available on Google Play only, but it will be available on the iOS store this week. I've been told it should be this week for sure, so I'm banking on that. But yeah, there's just a little bit of a slower store with the Apple approval process, so just take some time. But you can definitely find it right now on the Google Play Store.
Absolutely. It looks like Ray. I saw your messages on Facebook, Ray. I'm not getting any issues on Facebook on my end, so maybe check your router. But I didn't want you to think that we didn't hear you or see you there. Cool. This is an interesting question. I don't know the answer to this. Well, I might. I think I do actually. But maybe you do, Will. So this is from Andy on YouTube, and he's saying, "What is the source gamma for the footage recorded on the Mevo Start? Is it sRGB or is it Rec 709?"
Oh, I'm not positive on that. I think that it is sRGB. What do you think?
Okay, so tell you what, Andy, we're gonna post that into our hardware group, or I guess our dev group could tell us that too. We're gonna
Yeah.
ask. We're gonna ask our group, and we'll see if we can get you that answer. Cool. All right, Anthony's saying, can you list some of the equipment? So Anthony, at the beginning of the show, we kind of went through it, but I'll never shy an opportunity to list some of our equipment. So I'll sum it up real quick. Will and I both are using Mevo Start cameras, where we're going webcam into our computers. And then for audio, we are using Blue microphones, and those are routed a few different ways through some signal chains as far as compression, EQ, I guess noise suppression, gates. There's a couple of different things that we're running our audio through, but that's all coming directly into the Melon app. So, Will, tell us a little bit, if you can, about the Melon app.
Yeah, so Melon is actually an extremely awesome tool, and I think it's kind of underrated and just flies under a lot of people's radars. But Melon is basically, think about, a service like StreamYard. You can think about almost like Streamlabs on the web. It's a web application where you can bring in, your camera source. Somebody else can bring in their camera source. You can share the screen. You can do all of these switching that we're doing right now. Like now I'm full screen. There's lots and lots of different options. Our entire intro, the video intro that we use, you can add all these graphic overlays. You can see the bar down below. And so you can do all of these different things as well as streaming from the Melon app. So right now we're streaming to YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook all at the same time. I'm reading all of your chat from all those different destinations, all on the right side. Like, it's an extremely complex application that is made very, very easy by the Melon team. You can find it at melonapp.com. I actually think that there's still a little bit of a discount going on right now if you want to sign up. And so obviously you can use the Melon app with the Mevo, and now you can use the Multicam app with Melon, which is even more cool. So like, that what you would have had to use OBS and connecting multiple Mevos to OBS and then using virtual cam to go into Melon. Now you can go directly into Melon from the Multicam app, which is really, really cool and really, really exciting. And you can do that with the Mevo wireless webcam app and the Multicam app. So
Yeah,
really a
absolutely.
big advantage.
Yeah, it's definitely, especially when it comes to presenting over a meeting, this is going to be a pretty huge improvement for most people. So let's take a look at some questions here. Fred says, is there any latency when connecting multicam to a computer? So it's a great question, Fred. There is, but what we have incorporated now is a brand new latency mode in the Mevo Multicam app. It's called ultra low latency. So this is designed for certain situations like a Zoom meeting or a conference call or any type of video conferencing. It'll adjust certain things to lower that latency. That all happens in the app. So to build on that a little bit further, I believe on next Thursday, not this Thursday coming up, but next Thursday, we're actually going to do a whole breakdown of how that all works, all the new settings, and all the features and inputs and outputs, and how to get the multicam to be set up in Zoom properly. But that's a great question, and I appreciate you thinking about that, because it is something that it's on the top priority as far as anything we do is video audio sync, right? That's always high on the list. So great question.
And it also something to consider is just it depends, what your use case is and whether that latency matters. There's obviously going to be a little bit of latency when you're doing anything wireless, but if your stream is something like, you're just giving a presentation or you're just talking to your audience, then that latency is really not a big factor. But if you're doing something like this, where we're just having this live conversation, or you're talking on Zoom with the multicam app, then in that case, that low latency mode is really nice. But it really depends on what your needs are.
Absolutely. So let's keep it going. So Anthony on Facebook is saying, "What is the price?" Guess what, Anthony? This update is absolutely 100% free. So if you are on Android right now, you can go into the Google Play Store and search for Mevo Multicam, and you'll be able to download it for free, and it'll work with your Mevo Start cameras, and it will also work with your Mevo Plus camera. So if you have an older Mevo Plus, you can absolutely use that as well.
Hmm. Yep.
All right, so Fred the Hippo, any picture-in-picture NDI features in the update? Not on this update, but they are on the list. The big thing about this update was incorporating the webcam app with the multicam app, and really incorporating that advanced audio mixer. So, being that we talked about that audio mixer a little bit, Will, on 3 weeks from Thursday, so after we talk about getting the multicam into Zoom, we're actually going to do a whole nother show that's based around the multicam audio mixer. So this mixer is very, I'll just go to me here for a second. This mixer it's very robust. It gives you a lot of input-output options. It allows you to access certain aspects of each camera's individual audio features. Allows you to change from your inputs and outputs on the fly from the app without having to leave the app and go in and check your settings in the Mevo Cam app. So we're going to do a huge show on that, Fred, and for everyone else as well. See, on the 17th, March 17th, I believe, is when we have that show scheduled. And we're going to break it down, and I'm going to basically tear it apart and put it back together again. And we're going to use a bunch of different blue microphones, different inputs, different options. And you'll see how extensive the audio channels have gotten. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, and I also do want to mention that with the multicam app, using it with wireless webcam, you now can bring in anything in the multicam. So the entire multicam output goes into webcam. So that's including graphics. If you have transitions between one Mevo to the other Mevo, that is brought in as well. So it's really, really cool. It's not just, your Mevo connected to your computer via NDI, like that's a similar use case if you have multiple Mevos connected to your computer. But everything that you do in multicam app is now sent directly to your computer, which is really, really cool. And that being said, I also want to pass along a nice little note from Nate on our team, and he's wondering if anybody has already started using the multicam app, and if you have, what do you think about using multicam with wireless webcam? Like, what are some really cool things that you're doing now that you can have that capability?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like we've thought of some use case scenarios. Well, like you and I kind of went through a couple of different scenarios. Obviously the Zoom meeting presentation is huge. So you can have like an overhead shot or a shot on like a school board if you're doing any type of teaching. But like, I'm really curious to see what other people do with these new options. It should be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Let's dive into it real quick. So this is a quick one. Ben from YouTube is saying, "Can you now stream via SRT? Currently only RTMP. Right now, it's still RTMP. I haven't heard anything about SRT in the chatter yet. So as of this moment, it's strictly RTMP." And this is a good one, Will. Is there a way for Mevo to have a follow me when I move on stage?
Yeah, you can definitely turn it on, find faces and live follow. in the Logitech Mevo app. That's unfortunately
Yeah,
not in the Multicam app yet, but that being said, you can set up multiple Mevos pointed at your screen if you control them, or at your as you walk across the stage,
yeah.
and
So
switch
that would
between
be
the Mevos.
again, yeah, in the Mevo, the Logitech Mevo camera. Is it Mevo camera app or Logitech Mevo app?
Logitech Mevo.
Logitech Mevo. Yeah, so that function is not available on the multicam app just yet. But if you do have a multicam setup and you're doing a full stage, now you have options of having a left, center, right, which in most cases is going to be more beneficial than following around so much.
Yeah.
In most cases.
And the tricky part about having the regular Mevo app follow you, if you're on stage, typically that means that you're pretty far away from the Mevo. And so what it needs to do to follow you is lock in on your face. And if it can't
Mm-hmm.
really clearly make out your face, then it's going to have issues with that. So it's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, that's a good call out. Lighting is a huge issue with that too.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. I love this idea from LaserLess on Twitch. Also, by the way, if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, go to Twitch. Follow us at Mevo Camera on Twitch. It's where you're going to get the best video. We're going to be doing a lot more with Twitch coming down the future, and we're going to try and push more of our audience to Twitch just because we can have more fun on there. We can do things with emojis, and we could set up some different scenarios that are a little bit more engaging for the people watching at home. So if you are watching us on YouTube and Facebook, I highly recommend go follow us on Twitch, just like Les here. All right, Les says, you need to invite some guests on your show and talk about how they use their Meebos. I love that idea. I would love to have guests on. Les says he would love us invited or interviewed himself. Yeah, send us some stuff, Les. Send us some of your streams and what you're doing with the Meebo, because you're always on top of it. And I'm definitely curious to see how you're using it.
Yeah, Les would be an awesome guest. There's a lot of people that I'd love to have as guests.
And you know what? If you have people in mind, if there's streamers out there, if there's creators out there that you guys follow and you appreciate, or you know, maybe they've helped you in the past learn something, or if they're just entertaining, hit us up. Let us know who they are. If they're using Meebos or if they're using Logitech products, we can absolutely reach out to them. And hey, maybe we can bring them onto the show. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So definitely let us know. All right, Stream Media says, I'm happy with this update. Arrived just in time, expanding my studio activities. Awesome. Stream Media, thank you for that. Let us know what you're doing. Send us some videos. Give us some samples of how you're using the Mevo. You know, the more stuff we get from people, the better.
Yeah, I'm curious what you're doing specifically in your studio with the Multicam app, especially now that you have the capability of bringing the Multicam app to your computer. You know, what software are you using? You know, what kind of content are you creating? All that stuff. Let us know.
Mm-hmm. This is a great question from Fred again. Fred, does the audio get sent from the Multicam if we use the Multicam to a computer? Absolutely. So the Multicam to webcam is not just a video out. It is actually what it's actually doing is sending your whole program out, Fred. So regardless of what input you're using, which could be the internal Mevo mics, it could be the 3.5 attachment, it could be a USB input, it could be the Mevo mic app, it could be the device that's running the Multicam app. So you have 5 choices of audio inputs to use, and you can mix that in the audio mixer, and all of that can be sent to your program out. So to answer your question, absolutely, you'll get audio on your webcam.
Yeah, and you also have the ability to use a different audio source now with your Multicam setup. So if you have like a Go XLR going to your computer and you want to use that audio, you can bring that in to whatever you're using the Multicam app with. So now you have an option with the Multicam app, have it separately.
Ooh, your audio got a little jumbly there. Let's hide you for a second. Looks like we lost Will's audio there. I'll let you know if he comes back, if I see his video come back. So I will take over for now. But what he was saying is the options are, you can take audio from different sources now and bring them in as well. So if you have audio being sent from a computer, you can have that connected through a line in onto a Mevo mic app and have a wireless lav set up via whatever line input or output you'd like to choose. And I think Will's back. Let's take a look.
Yeah, I think you know, we were dealing with that, or I was dealing with that connection issue earlier, and I think it's just kind of bouncing back and forth. So hopefully now I'm looking and sounding good again. You gotta love Optimum Cable for doing their best to mess with my life. So that's great.
Yeah, they tend to do maintenance on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2. Seems
Yeah.
to be the schedule. So maybe we have to investigate that a little bit. Here's an interesting question, though, Will. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Question for all: why do you choose iOS or Android to stream with? Les here, he uses Android because it will not shut off the stream if he switches around apps. iOS did this by mistake in his experience, and it turned off because you can't do that on an iPhone. So, which is probably the number one reason to switch to an Android if you are streaming. But iPhone has its advantages too. Will, you stream with both. What are your preferences here?
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky. I think that we try and optimize the Mevo apps for both platforms as much as we possibly can. Obviously, Android has some advantages just built into the OS that iOS does not have, and that main is what you just mentioned, where if you minimize the app and switch to a different app, the multicam app will stay connected on Android, but on iOS, it'll get cut off. So when you're doing the multicam app to wireless webcam, like we're talking about today, it's really, really useful to be on Android because you want to be able to continue your conversation and still use your device. That being said, I personally have had really, really good experience using the multicam app with my iPad Pro and iPhone 13. It just seems to be slightly more powerful than most of the Android devices that I've used. Um, so yeah, it really depends on how you want to use the multicam app and the Mevo app. But as you mentioned, and I kind of agreed with, is that being able to leave the multicam app and have it still work for wireless webcam and obviously for streaming as well is just super, super useful. I am not hearing you.
Oh, it would
There we
help
go.
if I unmuted myself. Um,
Nice.
but I agree with you. Is what I was saying is I've been using the Galaxy S7 Tab S7 for about a year now. I think I got about a year ago probably, and it has been honestly flawless with my Mevo applications. It's like my dedicated tablet for everything I do Mevo. What's cool about the Android tablets too? Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Is you can have separate profiles set up. So for us, we have our work profile set up on the tablet where we can get, if we have to do testing, some new builds, or if we have to do any type of like software QA, any of the stuff that's not released yet, I can still test that stuff out and compare it to the consumer versions on one tablet. So you do get a little bit more options of like deeper things you could do with the Android tablet. That's why I choose it. All right. Okay. This is great. Pull this up. Did I lose Will? All right. I think we lost Will, guys. We'll come back. His internet's been choppy all day long. All right, streaming. I'm happy with the update. Oh, I already posted this. Oh, no, behind. Oh, this is interesting. Stream Media. He's had a failed live stream last week when he was broadcasting via Microsoft Teams. So the update solved this. This is great. I'm glad the update solved it. I'm curious to see what happened with that failed live stream. Because if you're using Microsoft Teams, you're probably using the Mevo as the webcam, which really isn't dictating what the live stream is doing. So I'd love to hear more about that. And it looks like, let's see if we got Will back here. Let's see. Bam. There he is.
I love it, man. Yeah. What I was saying, when my internet is just struggling,
You were
was
so rudely interrupted.
I know. I was kind of giving a plug to Samsung a little bit because Samsung just released a new tablet, the S8 Ultra. And for those of you who have seen that, or those of you that haven't, it is a 14.9 inch
Yeah, it's almost
tablet.
15 inches. Yeah.
Yeah, it's massive. That comes, you can get it maxed out to 16 gigabytes of RAM. It is like the ultimate multicam tablet. So if you're a big multicam user, you may want to check that out. It's definitely expensive, but if you're using multicam for your work or productions or weekly for your house of worship or whatever it is, then it might be worth checking out. Like I really want to get one myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Samsung, they definitely they do a lot of cool stuff with their tablets. They've been having a decent tablet game for a few years now.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just scoping through. Let me still know if any of these I'm just trying to catch up here because we're already a half hour in. Let me know if anything stands out to you, Will, in the chat here.
See, we've got
Some
a
side conversations.
iRig question, which is definitely something that we expected to see.
Mm-hmm.
That's 216.
And we're only at 216. Oh goodness.
I don't know. When I had to reconnect, I'm sure I skipped all over the place.
Nah, I think
Yeah.
that's true.
So will the iRig work with the new audio mixer? And yes, it will. I know that so many Mevo users are also iRig users, despite the fact that you can't put the iRig directly into the Mevo. For some reason, people love the iRig. But now you can finally use the iRig with your Mevo setup again. You just have to go into your device, like your tablet or your phone, with the iRig, and you can bring in that audio now.
Yep, absolutely. Here's an interesting
Exciting
one.
stuff.
We're still talking latency, and he's very
Okay.
concerned about latency, as you should be, Fred. Is the new latency setting specifically for the multicam to a computer, or does it have to do with the camera latency connecting to the multicam? So the ultra low latency setting is the feed from the multicam application to the webcam application, if I'm not mistaken on that, right?
It's both. It's both,
It's
right?
both. It's
Yeah.
covering both. Okay. Both ins
Because
and
you have
outs.
to think about the latency from the Mevos to the multicam app. Obviously, like if that is set at high, then or like if they were separate dials, basically, if you had your multicam app set to high and it took a while for the image to get to the multicam app, even if you set multicam to wireless webcam as low, like it would still be a high latency. So now if you set it to ultra low, it's going to be the lowest latency altogether.
There you go. All right. Thank you for that question, Fred. Roland on Facebook saying, will this app work with a Fire tablet? You can see Will's head shaking. Why won't it work, Will?
Unfortunately, it won't. I know it would be really cool because Fire tablets are so cheap. But because Fire tablets use a kind of skinned version of Android OS that doesn't work with the Play Store, and it only has the Android or the Amazon, I think it's Amazon Fire Store or something like that, which does not have the Mevo apps on it. So, assuming that you got the most expensive Fire tablet that actually has enough processor and RAM to run the multicam app, unfortunately, because it doesn't use the right OS, it just can't do it. But
Yeah.
it
So
would be
it has
nice
to
because it
be
is so cheap.
right. It would be
Yeah.
nice. I love this one here. Michelle Everett from YouTube. What? Yes, this will be great. I will test this out today. I love it.
That was a good
The
reading, man.
emphasis. I'm going to read it how you write it, team. I'm going to
I
read it
love
how
it.
you write it.
It's like Anchorman when he reads the all
I'm
caps.
Ron Burgundy.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
all right, Stream Media. We plan to stream debates with the multicam app via Zoom. This is great. So this is
Nice.
a wonderful. I lost your video. Well, I got your audio though. Oh, no, you're coming back. You're coming
Awesome. I
back.
love this. I'm gonna
It's all
definitely
right. You're
give
still
them a
here.
nice call. Yeah.
You're
Cool.
10% of views here.
Nice.
But I love this use case scenario, right? So using it for a debate via Zoom. So now you can set up 3 different cameras on your actual speakers. So let's say you have 2 speakers, you can do a covered shot, and a wide shot, and then that going to Zoom. Now anyone who's in your business or conference or whatever, they could just all they have to do is get into Zoom and they can see what's going on. So you don't need any sign up for anything. You don't need any special accounts for streaming. As long as they have access to that Zoom link, that's a great use case scenario.
Yeah.
How we doing? All right, you look good now. All right.
Sweet.
Okay. I'm going to give you one, and it's from Fred. And Fred, I'm going to caveat this, Fred, but we're probably going to have to test this, and this is something we're actually going to do live on the show, is kind of what you're talking about right now. We have this planned for the 24th of this month. So what Fred is doing is he's bringing on Multicam into OBS or Streamlabs, depending on whatever he's using, with other Mevos connected through NDI. So what Fred's trying to do is have one source basically represent 3 cameras, and then have additional cameras using another protocol into OBS. Do you think the multicam latency would affect the audio? And if I were to use multicam for audio in the NDI sources? Fred, I'll be honest with you. I think that you're going to, and Will, you can, stop me if you don't agree. I think you're going to run into a lot of latency issues here, getting this many cameras into OBS. But OBS and Streamlabs also have built-in parameters or filters that you can adjust for that. So what I would do is bring in all your sources, find where your latency is, and then adjust each source accordingly. You might have to delay or a video source or delay an audio source to sync it up. I don't think it's going to be off that bad. I think the maximum latency you'll see on the multicam app it may be 150 milliseconds, which really isn't a huge, like around 200 milliseconds is where you start to notice like, oh, hey, the audio might be a little off. Around 150 is usually not that noticeable. Anything less than 100 is generally not noticeable at all. But if you start getting into 400, 500 millisecond differences, that's where you start to see big jumps in the sync. But all that can be handled inside whatever OBS system you're using.
Yep. Spot on.
What do you think, Will? Spot on? All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. One for me. So what kind of sound dampening paddles are you utilizing? Old ones that I took from one of the studios I used to work in years ago that no longer exists. I have about 6 boxes of these, and they're pretty much scattered around the studio. So I don't have any preference as far as sound dampening or anything, as long as it's doing its job, and you have things in the right places. Okay. Let's keep it going. Oh, this is a good one, Will.
Thanks to you, we now use the Melon app. No more CPU problems. That's awesome. That's really cool. We like to hear that.
I mean, it's a good call out too, because you're taking a lot of the work that, like, let's say, I don't know, what would you compare this to? I guess an app or an API that would be doing on, well, not an API, but I guess the work that an app would doing, you're doing on a browser, right? So you're using the cloud. You're doing, so it is less work on your computer, I'd say.
Yeah, a lot. Actually, when you think about bringing, like what we tried to do in the past is we would connect up on Skype and then send the signal from Skype to OBS, and then from OBS then back out to the internet. And that's actually, it's a heavy load on your computer, both on CPU, and then when you're bringing things into OBS, you can also start using a lot of GPU. You're using RAM, all of these things. And so unless you have, a nice $2,000 computer, that might be very difficult. And it certainly was for us, and we have very nice equipment. So yeah, Melon has been amazing.
Yeah, just taking that workload, right, and kind of just throwing it into the browser. I mean, amazing is a good word for it.
Yeah.
All right, here's a fun one. Is it possible? This is from Robert on Facebook. He's saying, is it possible to use the Elgato Stream Deck with Mevo software? Not with the app software. I don't think there's any hotkey connections that we have built into the app. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't think you can use the Stream Deck with mobile apps.
Yeah, I think it's just, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Virgil on Twitch chiming in on the tablet discussion. He's saying he uses the Tab 7, Tab S7, thinking of getting the S8 and a Surface Pro 8. Yeah. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, and this goes to say too, it's just like a best practice. The multicam app can absolutely be used on an iOS device, on a phone, I should say. But using it on a tablet just gives you that real estate that you need to really, hone things in graphically, hone things in visually, maneuver your shots better. Like, I just always recommend using a tablet if you're using multicam.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so this is an interesting one. Maybe you could shed some light on this for Gordon here, Will. He's saying it's on iOS, but he brought an iPad Pro in recent years and was suitable for the Mevo Multicam. If he needs to do something else at the same time, he uses his phone. Now, if he's using the iPad Pro, is there things that you can do multitasking on that?
Yeah, there definitely are. I mean, it really depends on, what the other app that you want to use, but on the iPad Pro, you can do this little multitasking thing that iOS has where if you swipe up from the side of the screen, it'll bring up your icons for on your little, I don't know what, quick launch bar. And then you can drag one of the apps over the multicam app. So you can have like the YouTube app open over your multicam app if you want to read chat. You can do the same thing with Twitch. And so it really depends on what that secondary app that you need to use your phone for is. But you can do a certain amount of multitasking with the multicam app open on iOS. It's just not as good as Android is. So definitely give that a try. If you want to let us know what that specific app you're using is, we can certainly check it out. But almost all apps allow you to do that. Muted.
This is what happens when I try and give you the floor, give you the space. But this again specifically for iPad, not iPhone.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're gonna go with this one. Michelle, just because she was so enthusiastic about the multicam update, we're gonna definitely get her questions in. She uses three
Oh.
Mevos hardwired each, but is getting a low Wi-Fi signal error. I guess in the multicam app. I use one access point and the other two. I'm sorry. I use one as the access point for the other two and an iPad. Got you. All but the iPad are wired. Thoughts to prevent. Interesting.
Well, if you're using them all hardwired, then why do you have one as an access point?
Yeah, I think I was going to ask the same question there, Michelle. So if you're using, if they're hardwired connected to an internet and that or a router that has network signal, you should be connecting that iPad via Wi-Fi to that same network signal that's plugged into the Mevos. If you're using the Mevo as the access point, you're essentially telling the Mevo that the first Mevo you're picking is the router. That's your, that's your access point, right? That's not using the hardwired internet, right? It's bypassing it completely. So at that point, you just want to make sure that your tablet, your iPad, is connected to the same Wi-Fi as the multicam. Has the multicam app on it, connected to the same Wi-Fi that the Mevos are connected hardwired. Man, that's tough to say.
I know what you're saying, but like, yeah, you like if you had a wireless access point, say you have something like the Orbi access point, and that has Ethernet ports and also broadcast a wireless signal, and most wireless routers are like that. So you would want to have the three Mevos connected via Ethernet to that wireless access point, and have your iPad connected to that wireless access point as well. So you should not be using the Mevo's access point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So set that up. And she followed up too here saying that she uses three separate on each individual devices and doesn't have a problem. Yeah, that's because those individual devices are connecting to your network and they're hardwired and you're connecting to the same network. When you're connecting to the Mevo's hotspot, you're basically eliminating your network,
Yep.
which is not what you want to do. All right. Let's see here. Vince Janelle on YouTube. What's up, Vince? I use the Roland Go mixer. Hopefully that will still work. I have no reason to believe that won't work. Let me just double check.
Yeah.
You seen
I
the
don't
Go
know anything
mixer?
about it. No, I don't. But like now that you can use device audio, you should be able to do any kind of audio setup that you have.
Oh yeah, and the Roland Go mixer has a headphone out. So I mean, what you could do there, Vince, is go out of your mixer to one of the Mevos. Doesn't matter which one. In your audio mixer on the Multicam app, you can then choose that specific Mevo as a source. And again, March 17th. Is that St. Patrick's Day? Am I crazy? 17th. Okay, so on the 17th of St. Patrick's Day, we're going to have a whole audio discussion on how to do all of that.
Nice.
All right. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because we are running out of time and I'm only in like the 30s.
Yeah, there always is
Interesting.
so many questions on every single show. We always get behind.
Stream media. I want to address this real quick. So in connection with the Microsoft Teams, it was a disaster. The image and sound faltered. I assume that was extra low latency, and that has been solved. That's interesting. I mean, I'm glad it's solved, but I'm curious to see what really happened there. Because we've had people, we use the regular webcam app in Microsoft Teams and don't have that issue. So I'm glad it's solved, and I hope it doesn't come back. I don't really know.
Yeah. I would say that, when you're using the Multicam app, it's obviously taking up a good deal of network resources. And then when you're sending it to wireless webcam, it takes even more. So if you don't have a strong enough wireless webcam or wireless network, then it can be problematic for sure.
Yeah, good call out. Stream media on YouTube coming from Belgium, by the way. So
Nice.
Hello in Belgium. Hope all is well there. Okay. Got some hacking going on, looks like.
I just read that.
Right. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to catch through this bunch of side conversation, and it's good side conversation, too. So what they're discussing is there's different ways to get the Mevo app on different devices.
Yeah, the biggest issue is just obviously you could hack the Mevo app onto a Fire tablet, but even if you go through all of that, you still have to deal with the Fire tablet not being powerful enough to do the Multicam app very well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here's something interesting. DJ Fuzz. What's up, DJ Fuzz? Thanks for joining us. Saying, hi, guys, joined late. I am noticing Joseph is in mono. He mentioned it. I mentioned before, just go to the comments. No worries. I am in mono, and that's a setting in Melon. So right now, I'm just going straight microphone. So I just want that to come right down the middle. I don't really have any need for any type of panning or stereo image at this time. If I was playing some music or if I was trying to do like some panning examples, we could set that to stereo. But just know that anytime you're using any type of stereo, you're basically doubling up whatever load you're creating. So if you don't have to, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But thanks for that question, TG Flush, and thank you for noticing. That's a hard thing to notice when it's just a vocal podcasty kind of feel.
Yeah, I could not do that.
Check this one out there, Will.
Just started playing with Melon. I'm very impressed. Welcome to the Melon Club. I'm considering a video podcast format with a guest. Yeah, Melon is amazing for guests. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, let's take you through it. I mean, right now, just using Melon, everything I'm about to do is inside Melon. So you have options. Obviously, you can see we have the scrolling. You can see that you can post chat. When my chat goes away, I have a banner that pops up. And you'll notice that even some automated things. Notice there are names on our pictures. If there's a chat box showing up, our names shoot up to the top. When that chat box goes away, the names shoot back down to the bottom. You have a lot of different options as far as what you could do with your imagery. So if I want to do something like this and I just want to be, like a sidebar on whatever Will's talking about, we can absolutely do that. And we can click and drag to reorder these. So now I'm on top. We can move this stuff around too. This is all preset inside Melon, where you can do a lot with your imagery, which is really, really, really cool. And prior to Melon, you used to have to put a lot of things together to get those types of effects.
Yeah, and I saw that there's even stuff that's in beta where it'll do local recording as well. So if you're doing a podcast and you want to have a really, really high quality end product that you put on YouTube or something like that, you can have both of those local recordings for your video sources and then combine them in a video editor, and then you have the highest quality output that you can for your YouTube posts.
Yeah, so even if you're not doing live and you just want to do a session that you can go back and edit later, you can take advantage of those options as well.
Yeah.
Fred, wait, when was the update released? This was on
last
Thursday?
Something like that.
Yeah, I want to say it was the Android release was Thursday. iOS still on hold, waiting for that to come probably this week. All right, so here's a good one. This is from Nicole Vanessa Ortiz on YouTube. So will the Mevo consider synchronizing live streams to Instagram as well?
I'm sure that we would have already if Instagram allowed it. Unfortunately, Instagram does not. You have to be live streaming from the Instagram app for that to work. TikTok is a great solution if you want to live stream on that kind of social network because TikTok does allow live streaming, and you can do that through RTMP. So, unfortunately, Instagram is pretty locked down.
Yep. Sorry, Nicole. I love the idea. And to
Yeah,
answer your question, we consider it a lot. I wish we could do it. It
yeah,
would be a lot of
for
fun.
sure.
Um, all right. Here's a good one here. Cowley Storm Chasers. I love that. I would love it if there's a way to customize the overlays in the app. So you can to a point, but I do understand what you're saying as far as like having a full graphic customizing suite. But what we can say here is just if you have any type of photo editing software, if you're creating photos or imagery or graphics with transparent backgrounds, you can absolutely use those in the apps.
Yeah.
And I think Will, you have a whole video demonstration on how to do that. I think it was probably last summer. You probably did a whole video on it.
Yeah, when Multicam first came out, I gave a ton of examples of what you can do using transparent, full screen, transparent PNG graphics. Um, so yeah, but there are also multiple apps for phones and tablets that allow you to create PNGs. Um, Obviously, the Multicam app can only do so much, as like most apps can only do so much of what they're
Mhm.
meant to do. But you can do custom graphics in the Multicam app and the Mevo app. Just can't do, huge Photoshop graphics.
Yeah, it's just limitations. And the way the graphics are set up too in those apps are, we have your lower third, we have an over the shoulder, we have your full frame graphic, which so it does give you the options to do the more popular showy type graphics. Oh,
Yeah.
this is great. This is great. Michelle, ah ha.
Nice.
Thanks. iPad to Wi-Fi, others to hardware. Yes, absolutely. As long as the iPad is connected to the same network as what's connected to your Mevo. So, Michelle, for example, and this is a little fun example. So on my setup right now, I have my Mevo camera is hardwired through the Mevo PoE Ethernet to my router. My computer is also hardwired Ethernet to my router. I'm using the wireless webcam application. So what I'm not doing is I'm not taking my webcam and plugging it through USB into my computer. I'm actually using it wirelessly. However, my iMac computer's Wi-Fi is actually turned off. So it can still receive the signal from the webcam because it's coming through the network. So when you're on your iPad, as long as it's on that same network, you should be able to access those Mevo cameras from anywhere. So there's no distance requirements. As long as you're within range of that network, you can access your Mevo cameras. And she says, got it. Thanks. Awesome.
Nice. That's the best. I
All right.
love when we're like actively solving production issues live on the show. Like
Yeah,
that's what it's all about. We love
absolutely.
answering questions and talking about updates it's a very exciting thing to do, but we also just love it, solving problems, which is great.
Yeah, that's kind of like we're troubleshooters at heart, right? So
Yeah.
if we can find solutions, it's like the best part of our day.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Are there any plans to make text on the graphics animated by Kathy? Thanks for that question. I haven't heard anything about that. I do like the idea. I got to think that takes a lot more resources, um, but it's not a bad idea.
For sure. Yeah. With the latest update, you can send multicam to Streamlabs or regular OBS or something like that. And so there you can add those animations if you really wanted something animated, but yeah, not at
That's
the moment
true.
in the multicam app. Yeah.
And it's funny because like literally last week we wouldn't have been able to say that, right? We wouldn't have been able to say
Yeah.
you can add those animations in using multicam to Streamlabs or something like that. Um, this is cool. Thank you, Vince. He's gonna tune in on the 17th. I appreciate it. I'm looking so forward to that show because that's when I get to play with all my microphones. Um, and he also chimes in, I'm down for being a guest if you have to start using users on the show. I always give
Nice.
Mevo props. Long time user. Vince, we appreciate it, man. We appreciate it. Send us some videos. Yeah, why not? Maybe we can do like you know, user highlight segment on the show. We can bring in some of our more popular users.
Yeah, I did one reaction show on the Multicam show, and it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of people submit from the Facebook group, and I got to kind of look through their live streams and see what can be improved and what was just working really well.
Yeah. This is a good one here. I want to say this right. Is it Xishang? Victor? So I still prefer Mevo starts on NDI to any computer. He has a Mac or Windows, can use them with Ecamm or OBS. Absolutely. So you can still use multiple Mevos to your computer using NDI. Now, think of it this way, though. If you have a computer that can't really handle that type of input, it probably can handle one webcam source a lot easier, and then the switching will be happening on the multicam app. So you can. It depends on your setup, right? It depends on your use cases, but yeah, if you're using NDI and you're having no problems and your computer's handling that and your scenes are all set up and you're ready to go, keep doing it. That's why we put it there.
Yeah, for sure.
George, I'm posting it. It's on the show. George, support from the Melon team. Go Mevo.
Nice.
Thank you, George. So George is on the Melon team. He's the one who we basically complain to. But he's great. And thanks for watching the show, George. We appreciate it.
Yeah. I was thinking about the different use cases. Like we've had the Multicam app to wireless webcam for quite a bit. While it's been getting developed, we get to test all these alpha builds and beta builds and everything like that. And I really enjoy using it because sometimes when I'm streaming or I'm talking to somebody on Discord or something like that, I like to kind of move around my apartment. And it's nice to have multicam on my phone and I'm just switching cameras depending on where I'm at. So there's a lot of really cool use cases for using multicam with wireless webcam that you might not think off the bat. Like being able to walk around your set, say you're doing a house of worship broadcast and you want to use the power of your main computer to do your stream. Maybe you want to add videos or animations, stuff that you can't do in the multicam app. You can now take the power of your computer, but you can also be mobile with the multicam app. So you can be walking around your house of worship, you can be walking around the venue that you're at, whatever it is, and you can control things on the go, which is really, really nice. So I'm excited to see how people end up using this new feature in the long run.
Yeah, no, I think that's well said. Looks like we have a couple of feature suggestions, which I think we should kind of throw out there for Nate, because I know Nate's watching. Hey,
Nice.
Nate. So a couple of things. It looks like Gordon has a good idea here regarding the graphics in the Mevo Multicam. It would be nice to see the imported file names or some way to name them, so you can label your graphics, which I think is not a bad idea at all.
Yeah, good call.
Laserless, I think he's seconding that that notion.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great one for today's show. Dr. Daly, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. He's new to Mevo. Is there a way to use iPad to control multicam and use Zoom or WebEx? So, Dr. Daly, we are absolutely happy to answer that question for you, because that's what we're talking about today. We now, as of today, are able to do that with the Android version of the Multicam app, and the iOS version will be coming shortly. So, Will, you want to break this down for the kind doctor for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So using your iPad, you would open up the Multicam app, and because iPad is iOS, the Multicam app is the 1.4 update is not quite there yet, but it will be released tomorrow or sometime this week. I think tomorrow, so we're hoping tomorrow. And so what you would do is do that update and then open up the Multicam app, connect your multiple Mevos just like you normally would in the Multicam app. And then there is now this new button that is a connecting to wireless webcam button. You'll see that active, and you can open up wireless webcam on your computer, whether you have Mac or PC, and then you can select your iPad from that drop down list like you would almost with just a regular Mevo, only it's just your tablet. And then you would open up Zoom and select the wireless webcam app right there as a video option and an audio option, actually, if you wanted to do audio from the Multicam app as well. So it's really, really easy. It takes about 5 seconds. It was a little bit longer to explain it because I'm trying to remember where all the menus are. But yeah, it's super, super easy. And we'll definitely do some demos doing multicam to Zoom for sure.
Yeah, so Dr. Daly, join us on March 10th. It's Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern at Mevo Camera on all the channels, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. You're watching on YouTube. We're going to do a whole demo. We're going to show you the ins and outs of the inside of the app. We'll show you the connections, how it all looks, and step-by-step directions on how to get that set up. So join us next Thursday, not this Thursday, next Thursday, March 10th, where we really break down those features. All right, Will. It is 3 minutes past the hour. I'm not even sure if you noticed that. We've been on cruise control for a little while now.
I did
So
not.
I appreciate all of the questions and all of the comments everyone is giving us. It means a lot. It does mean a lot that you're engaging and you guys are with us on this journey as the Mevo apps improve.
Yeah, like it's always cool to see the back and forth conversations. And that's another reason we kind of are pushing people towards Twitch, because if everybody is in just one network, then everybody can communicate and learn from each other. And it's a lot easier for everybody if you're on the same place and can chat with each other. So we do encourage you again to move over to Twitch if possible.
Absolutely. So let's close it out. Will, what do you say? So, let me get rid of this banner here. So this is one thing that I think we need to fix in Melon. You have to go through a couple of menus to get to certain aspects of it.
Yeah, I'm excited to try that. They've got like hotkeys, and I haven't really gotten into that.
The hotkeys are cool for the angle switching, but I don't think you can turn banners on and off with hotkeys. If you can, that'd be amazing. All right. while Will and I fall into the rabbit hole of Melon chat, let's go over.
Yeah,
I know. All right, you guys could all check out now. But hey, Tuesdays, Ask Mevo Anything, a show just like the show you just saw, where we answer your questions live on the show. We post them live on the show. We try and troubleshoot live for you every single Tuesday. On Thursdays, Mevo Live, and this is, again, where we're going to break things down. So throughout the entire month of March, we're going to be talking multicam. We're going to be doing demos on Thursdays. We're going to be doing in-app demos, showing you all the ins and outs of the multicam, but I can't say it more. And then, Will, just to reiterate what we're going to be talking about, I want you to go ahead and tell everybody what the Multicam app is.
Yeah, Multicam 1.4 just released. Where you can now do multicam output directly to your computer via wireless webcam. We're going to be talking about how you can now stream directly to Twitter. And of course, the advanced audio mixer, which I know Joseph is very excited to talk about further. So be sure to watch all the shows this month. We're going to do a really big deep dive into the new Multicam 1.4 app.
And of course, we haven't mentioned it yet, but if you want to join the Logitech team and become a user tester, fill this form out. So you can find this form in the description of our Twitch and or YouTube and Facebook channels. I'll get on the Twitch channels as well. But this is a form for our users to fill out and test some of the new products that Logitech has to offer, whether it be an actual physical unreleased product. Maybe we want your opinions on some packaging or some software or firmware updates. So if you are interested and you want to join and help us out with the future of what's coming out of Logitech and get a little glimpse into what's coming out in the nearer future, fill out this form, sign up, and become a user tester with us. All right, Will, thank you. That was a great show. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We're already 6 minutes over, so we're going to close it out here. And we will see you on Thursday, which we have a very special show planned for Thursday as well. So Mevo Live this Thursday at 2 p.m.
Thanks, everybody. See you then.